Whenever nighttime strikes, I try to walk out of my room to the living room, but immediately the first thing I see is a bunch of windows. Now, I try to take walks at nighttime sometimes because I enjoy the way it looks out at night, but whenever I move to a new place, I'm always extremely hesitant about going outside or being around any windows or doors because, especially when I'm in a place that's less guaranteed to be safe, it's usually there's gonna be more paranoia that corresponds with it. When I lived in Maine, the part of Maine that I lived in was inhabited mostly by old people, and so it was very unlikely that I was going to get mugged by a 60-year-old, and if I were, then, well, I have the upper hand over them by age alone. And so I could take walks at 2 a.m. and feel that everything was perfectly fine, logically at least. But even then, there was still the aching paranoia in the back of my mind that was telling me I was going to die or that something was going to happen. Somebody was going to show up. And that would eat away at me when I would be walking home because I would start seeing people in the dark. And even though I know they're not real and that they aren't really there, I feel like they are. And it's hard to explain, but when you actually experience seeing those people, it is really scary because there's a part of your brain that's telling you those hallucinations are real, and then there's the logical part that's telling you that they aren't. And, sometimes at nighttime, because I always stay up very late, sometimes at nighttime I'll walk out of my room to go to the kitchen. You have to walk through the living room to go to the kitchen, and I'll get something to eat. But what has happened ever since I've moved here is when I go into the kitchen, I always see the windows, and there's a lot of windows on the way there. There's two doors as well. There's one in the kitchen and then there's one in the living room. And I look out those windows and I look out the doors, and I always feel like someone is going to show up and break through them, or that someone is going to come in and hurt us. Now I know, most likely that's not the case, but then, last night, I looked out one of the windows and there was somebody there. Now, as soon as I left the room, I went into mine. A few minutes later, I walk out of the room, and then I go to the living room again. There's no one there. I know almost 99% sure that that person was not real, but they felt like it. And whenever that happens, I get really scared. It's hard for me to leave my room sometimes at nighttime with no one around because I always feel like there's something around the corner. That feeling you would get as a child where you would sort of believe that something was in your closet, or that that there was some sort of imaginary creature there. That one never really went away with me.